I don't take that for granted. Hey, Lorene. All right, good morning, traders. Thank you for being here. My name is John Kerrigan. I am the lead instructor here at BYOB Trading. I lead the BYOB Trading Room. Thank you for subscribing to my content, following me on Facebook, Twitter, and everywhere else. Thank you so much. I love the kind comments. Thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you for the subscriptions. Appreciate it greatly. Thank you. Let's go ahead and get started here. All right. So my SPY pivot this morning, 565.45. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. All of the Fab Five are in daily uptrends. All made higher highs and higher lows, closing over bullish traps over their hooking 17 EMAs. SPY closed with a 2-hour uptrend, 10-minute downtrend. Gold still in an uptrend. Gold made a lower high and a lower low, closing under a bullish trap over the 17 EMA. Silver still in a downtrend, made an inside day, closing under a bearish trap under the 17. USO still in a downtrend, made a lower high and made a higher low and a higher high, closing over a bearish trap below the 17. UNG also in a daily downtrend, made an outside day. It's a higher high and a lower low, closing over a bullish trap over the flat 17. US dollar index still in a downtrend, in a bear flag, closed near the 100.54 area. SPY max pain for today, 557, with a put to call ratio of about 1.65 puts. So 1 2/3 puts to each call that expires today. Maybe a put squeezes on the table. We'll see. That all those are regarding the options that expire today at 4:15. That's the SPY options that expire today at 4:15. All right, let's go take a look at some charts. Start off with SPY. You can see 10-minute yesterday into the close, 10-minute downtrends. Take a look at the 2-hour. 2 hours, see the yellow 3 EMA up over the white 8 EMA. That's 2-hour uptrend right there. So 2-hour uptrend breaking this downtrend line. You can see the pullback and snap right off the backside of this downtrend line. Nice pop back up there. So there's the 2-hour chart. Let's take a look at the daily. All right, for the daily, we've got a higher low and a higher high. Kind of a lot of spinning tops here. Closing over, see the 3 EMA up over the 8 EMA, so it's a bullish trap. So closing up over here, of course, you go by the bottom of the candle there. That's where it closed, not by the tail. Okay, so we closed up here over the bullish trap, over the rising 17 EMA, or you call it hooking. See where it comes from red and then kind of hooks right here into green. All right, so over the hooking 17 EMA there. Okay, so that's a daily chart. We're making higher lows and higher highs, so that's a bullish uptrend right there. Okay, if we look at it with the quad lines on, still not quite in bullish territory yet. We're not in the upper third. All right, if we manage to climb back in there, that will be bullish. We are knocking on the door. So we're still neutral right through here. So a little more juice needed to get us into the bullish territory. We'll see if we can get that done today. We'll find out. There's SPY. Okay, daily chart. Again, still in a daily uptrend because making a higher low and a higher high. On the 2-day chart. Okay, 2-day chart's got to come all the way back up here to take out the next high, all right, to negate the downtrend. So 2-day chart in a downtrend with a pullback. Okay, so it's not moving down. All right, so it's moving down here, but it's got a pullback right here. So 2-day chart still in downtrend status. Again, it's just a label. 3-day chart still in downtrend status. They got to take out the high, just like the 2-day. Weekly still in downtrend. They got to take out the high to negate the downtrend. Monthly chart still in an uptrend, okay, because they never took out and made a lower low. So price action for SPY. Monthly uptrend, weekly downtrend, 3-day downtrend, 2-day downtrend. Daily is in an uptrend. 2-hour also in an uptrend, 10-minute downtrend. All right, let's go take a look at the game plan, and we'll look at that with the 5-minute on here. Okay, for SPY options today, I like Friday options. I like the Friday options that with strike prices on the nickels, all right, or on the increments of 5. So like 560, 555, 570, 575. Those are the ones that have the most open interest. I like open interest because I want to get in, I want to get out, I want to get out with very little slippage. I also want to, I like to trade around a nice tight bid-ask spread. All right, so that's why I like the nickels or the increments of 5 on those Friday options. Again, lots of open interest is important to me, okay? I like them $5 to $15 out of the money. I like 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. I like 10-minute downtrends under VWAP. All right. SPY pivot for today, again, 565.45. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. First green erase is red entry. It's going to be right there at 569.40. So over 569.40 is a bullish. Green erase is red entry for me. On the southern direction, red erase is green entry, so below 563.20 is my first red erase is green entry on the southern direction. So on the northern side, 569.40. On the southern side, 563.20. And a quick reminder, all right, my pal Doug is having an open house this Monday. See if I can find the plaque for it. I think I do have the plaque. Let's try this one right here. It's coming up. Here we go. Doug Campbell, Right Way Options. All right. He's going to be having an open house on Monday. All right. Tell all your friends. All right. It's free. It's free to attend. Just use the link. All right. If you scan this QR code right here, all right, it'll take you right to the link to register for his open house, and they'll send you the credentials to get into the room on Monday. All right, so right there, open house, 9:30 to 4. All right, Doug knows a lot about options, great trader. All right, so take advantage of some free learning. All right, on Monday. All right, so there you go, Right Way Options, open house Monday. That's May 12th. That's the day after Mother's Day. All right. And by the way, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. All right. Appreciate that. Some of you mothers are traders. We love that. All right. We'd like to get more. Thank you so much for all that you do, moms. All right. We appreciate you. Just want to say that right now. Okay. And open house for Doug on Monday. All right. Let's go back to the chart. Okay. So underneath it. All right, in the pre-market, let's just take a peek at what the pre-market's doing right now. So we close with a 10-minute downtrend, all right? Currently, kind of moving up, kind of melting up here so far. All right, so I'm not opposed to playing a 10-minute uptrend if it can get over VWAP and break the rubber band candle on a 10-minute chart. See, we got a little 10 minutes. See the 3 up over the 8 right here. So I'm not opposed to playing a 10-minute uptrend over VWAP with the pre-market study on. All right, so we'll see what happens. Okay, yesterday we had a bullish gap that never got filled by the bears. That's a very bullish environment when they do that. Okay, price action held the higher ground for the most part. All right, so that was consolidation over all of the consolidation from the day before. All right, so that was very nice. Over the backside of this downtrend line, that's a bullish environment. And price action still looking good, up over the all-time high anchored VWAP. Again, I like that. Again, my best scenario, all right, for me, I've said it probably 100 times. All right, I like a 10-minute uptrend, all right, over VWAP. All right, I like that 10-minute uptrend over a 2-hour uptrend. All right, so I like that 10-minute uptrend over VWAP over a 2-hour uptrend or inside a 2-hour uptrend. Okay, I also like that 10-minute uptrend over VWAP that's inside a 2-hour uptrend also inside of a daily uptrend. So right now we've got almost the perfect scenario. We've got a daily uptrend, we've got a 2-hour uptrend, and in the pre-market here, we may have a 10-minute uptrend going on right now, and we're about to have a 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. All right, so currently that trend is over VWAP, but the candles are still attached to VWAP. I'd like to see a break of the rubber band candle. Anywhere up here over 567 looks pretty good. Preferably over that wick. 568, over 568 looks incredibly good. Okay, if we can get up over 568. Up over the bodies looks good, but better is up here, 568. Okay, so 567 is good, 568 is better. All right, like to see the rubber band candle break. That would mean there would be no recall back to VWAP for a little while, at least for a nice run, till they hit a target. All right, so that's what we got in SPY. Again, I like 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. That's inside of a 2-hour uptrend. That's also inside of a daily uptrend. Okay, I like that. That is like one of the ultimate setups for me. All right, so that's what I'm looking for. We've got a lot of the ingredients to bake that cake today. All right, so we'll see what happens. We'll see where it fans out. Again, break that rubber band candle, and I think that's a game on situation right there for the SPY. So that's how I'm going to trade it. Okay, on a 10-minute break of the 10-minute rubber band candle, that's going to look really nice. All right, so there's SPY on the 10-minute chart. All right, let's go back to QQQ. All right, QQQ on the daily chart. All right, on the daily chart, what do we got for QQQs? That's, let me get this one right here, because that always gives me the day after. Daily chart. All right, so yesterday's candle kind of looks just like SPY. Actually, traders, they all got the same candle. Okay, pretty much. They all got the same spinning top candle here. Okay, or spinning top, you know, long doji, whatever. All right, price action, higher low, higher high, closing over a bullish trap, closing over the hooking, 17, same thing. See the red dots? That's the 17 EMA. See how they turn from red to green? It's almost like they're changing directions here, okay? So there's QQQ. Daily is in an uptrend, higher lows and higher highs. If we look at it with the quad lines on here, you can see price action up over this uptrend line. You can see price action up over the all-time high. See the pink line? That's the all-time high anchored VWAP. It's a moving average. Okay, up over that moving average there, all-time high anchored VWAP. See now, like VWAP, that represents like the average price that shares are selling for. Okay, think about this just for a minute. Okay, if you look at the past and you say, what was the average price shares sold for? Well, that would be VWAP, right? So if we look back and we see now we've got a scenario where funds and fund managers, investors and retail traders and everybody, all right, we've got price is up over that all-time high anchored VWAP, meaning they're willing to pay better than what the price should be. Okay, this represents what the price should be. Okay, because that's the average price that shares sold for. But not today, all right? Not yesterday, the day before, not all this week, maybe parts of last week. Okay, we're interested in paying more than what it should be for it. Okay, that's optimism. That's a bullish outlook. Okay, not on top of that, okay, you've got consolidation over prior consolidation. See right here? This consolidation, then we got a 4-candle consolidation right here. That's a bullish environment. Okay, up over an all-time high anchored VWAP. That is a bullish environment. Price action up over this uptrend line. That is a bullish environment. A lot of bullish environments going on right now. Okay, even though there's a little bit of a negative sentiment lingering in the air. I gotta say, if we did get some certainty out of the administration, all right, it would be nice. I think we could be at probably 650 if we got some type of certainty, all right? but we're not. I guess he's not ready yet. Okay, that's all I can say. Okay, he's not ready yet. Okay, putting it together, trying to get it done. I appreciate that. All right, I like that. That he's trying to fix something that is broken. We have a broken system, and they're trying to fix it. I like that. I appreciate it. All right, so hopefully sooner than later, okay, before the markets crash again or take another leg to the downside. Okay, so there's QQQ. All right, price action. All right, still looking bullish. Same with SPY. SPY looks the same way. Okay, notice the same consolidation over prior consolidation. Okay, see it? Consolidation over prior consolidation. And then I could slap one of these uptrend lines in here. Okay, and you'd see we're up above the uptrend line, so we're moving up. All right, that's bullish. We're up over the all-time high in VWAP. That's this thin purple line. That's bullish. All right. Anytime you see bullish gaps that aren't filled by the bears, that's a sign that the bulls have more control than the bears. Okay, so keep that in mind. Okay, then you got a little 4-day downtrend that just got broke yesterday. All right, that's a bullish environment right there. Breaking that downtrend line there. Still over the uptrend line. Things are looking good. All right. Need a little bit more help, but we're looking good. Okay, so there's SPY. All right, let's go take back to QQQ. All right, QQQ on the daily chart. Again, higher low, higher high, closing over the bullish trap. Over the hooking 17, right? It's all bullish there. We like that. Okay, so we're in an uptrend. Again, because we got a higher low and a higher high. That's an uptrend. See, there's the high poking through the 17. Yeah, we made a higher high. Okay. See the low down here at the bottom of the uptrend line? Okay, yeah, we made a higher low. So higher lows, higher highs, that's an uptrend. Okay, so there's QQQ. On the 2-day chart, okay? 2-day chart not ready yet, okay? Still got to take out this high up here to negate the downtrend. Again, it's just a label. Again, we're up here, and notice we are knocking on the door of the upper third. That's the bullish zone up there, okay? Right now we're in neutral land. Lower third, that's the bearish zone. Upper third, bullish zone. In between, that's neutral. Okay? This would be like the 50-yard line, mid-court, midfield. You know, I don't know which sport you guys play, but or girls, either one. Right here. Okay, so this is the division line. Okay, 51% above, 50% below. Okay, you get to 51%, you got the majority, right? So that's what we want to see, 51% or better. Okay, so there's QQQ. 2-day, again, still in a downtrend. Okay, 3-day, still in a downtrend. Okay, having a pullback in the downtrend on the 3-day chart. On the weekly, again, still in a downtrend. See the lows that poke through the 17? Okay, we made lower lows. All right, that puts us in a downtrend. Now we got to go take out a high. Well, the first high we come to is way up here. So we're still in a downtrend, but we're in a pullback in that downtrend. We'll see what happens, okay? Weekly, still in a downtrend. Monthly, hey, guess what? We didn't make any lower lows yet, okay? That poked through the 17. So monthly, we're still in an uptrend. All right? So monthly's in an uptrend, weekly, 3-day, and 2-day, still in downtrends, just like SPY. Now, for all of you traders out there that trade futures, okay, when I take my SPY options trades or my QQQ options trades, well, I also trade the E-mini futures, okay, the micros, all right? I trade the micro E-mini futures at the same time. If you look at the 10-minute charts and compare them to each other, all right, that would be like the MNQ, that with the micro E-mini NASDAQ 100, but you have to compare it to the QQQ, all right? If you look at the 10-minute charts, you will see that the candles match up almost identically, all right? Color for color, candle for candle, all right? Watch them and you'll see. So that's why I trade futures at the same time as I'm trading my options, all right? Same with SPY, okay? If you look at the MES, all right, that's the micro E-mini S&P 500, all right? Trade that at the same time as I trade my SPY options, all right? So So you can follow along. Even though you're not trading options, you could trade micro futures just as well. Okay, just saying. Am I showing charts of the E-mini? Not yet, but I can if you want to. All right, but right now, let me get through this. I can later. All right, I'm not showing them right now, but I can definitely pop them up there before we end the video. All right, so QQQ monthly in an uptrend. All right. All right, let's take a look at IWM. All right, let's take a look at IWM on the daily. Okay, just like the others, higher low, higher high, closing over the trap over the 17. Okay, under the all-time high anchored VWAP. Okay, just they're in the neutral zone. Notice they're in zone 2 down here. This is 3. This is 4. This is 1. Okay, so they're not far from being in the bearish zone. Okay, so a lot of work to be done to get bullish on IWM, all right? But they're in the neutral zone, and they're in a weak uptrend. Okay, got a low. It's a higher low. Okay, got a high right up here. All right, and then they made a higher high. Okay, so you pull back, and then a higher high. So IWM in a weak uptrend. All right, really like to see it take out this one right here. That would really be confirming. Okay, so weak 1 day pullback uptrend. All right, that went below the 17 right here, and we made a higher high. So weak 1 day uptrend on IWM. All right, so then we go with in a weak uptrend. All right, and in the neutral area right here, not in the lower third, not in the upper third. So just neutral, but a little bit different than QQQ and SPY, because notice we're underneath the all-time high anchored VWAP. That's the all-time high. This is the anchored VWAP that comes off of that moving average. Okay, notice we're still under on those. All right, so there's IWMs. Take a look at FNGA or B or U or whatever they want to call it this week. All right, price action. This is a compilation of 10 of the most heavily weighted securities in the QQQ and the SPY. All right, and they are the heavyweights. When they move as a pack, they have the power. They're so heavily weighted in the QQQ and SPY. They're so heavily weighted that they have the power that if the other 480 stocks or securities in the SPY are moving in the opposite direction, they will jerk the index in the direction that they're moving. Okay? That's how powerful they are. So that's why we watch FNGA. Okay? That will jerk the market. You can see IWM way down here, SPY way up there. Okay? In quadrant 3, well, IWM Russell 2000, all the small caps and mid caps, still down here in quadrant 2. You got SPY and QQQ up over their all-time high anchored VWAPs. All right, so FNGA, price action. Make sure I got the right one. Got a higher high and a higher low, closing over a bullish trap over that hooking 17. Underneath the all-time high anchored VWAP, not in the lower third, not in the upper third. In an uptrend, all right, because it's making higher lows and higher highs. So we got a high here that poked through the 17. We made a higher high. That puts us in an uptrend. So FNG in an uptrend and in the neutral zone. Okay? Not quite as strong as SPY and QQQ. Okay, so there's FNGA. Let's take a look at, I just did IWM. Let's take a look at Diamond Dow. Higher low, higher high, closing over the bullish trap over the 17 EMA. See that thing? See all the red dots? See how they hook? And now they turn green. Okay, price is moving up. When price is over them, they turn green. When price is underneath them, they stay red. Okay, so price turning them green. Okay, and you see the downtrend line. We are busting through the downtrend line. See the nice catch on the backside of that downtrend line on Diamond Dow, and moving up through. All right, there's the all-time high anchored VWAP right there. Price action. All right, again, just like the others, higher low, higher high, over the trap, over the hooking 17, but under the all-time high anchored VWAP, up here in quadrant 3, so it's definitely not in the lower third, not in the upper third, so it's neutral. All right, so that's bullish in a daily uptrend, higher low, higher high. That's looking good. Needs a little more work. All right, a little more spinach, a little more mustard. Get something going. Get them up there in the bull zone, right up here. All right, right up there in the upper third. That's the bullish zone. Okay, so there's Diamond Dow. Take a look at the technicals. T2122. Okay, spent the day all the way up here at the top of the overbought zone. Okay, last time we were up here in the overbought zone, we kind of fell out of bed. All right, we made a visit down to 555. Here we are again yesterday, spending some time up here in that overbought zone, way up here at the top of the overbought zone, okay? So there is that possibility that history repeats itself, okay? And we make a trip, of course, SPY max pain is 557. We make a trip headed in that direction, 557, 560, maybe even 555. Okay, last time we were here and we spent some time, okay, we made a visit down to 550, 556 area, okay. We'll see if history repeats itself or if they can hold the overbought zone or inside the buy zone. We'll see. I'll bet they hang out. I bet if they do fall, they fall back into the buy zone. All right. So there's T2122. That was the 15-minute chart. Okay, I'll back out so you can see. Okay, last time we're up here, we fell. See, all the way down here. Okay, now we worked our way back up. Okay, T2123. T2123 is looking great. This is only the 15-minute, and we're making higher lows and higher highs. We're filling some bearish gaps. We filled this one. We got a big bearish gap right here. We're starting to fill it. I do like what I see. I like when price moves up and holds those bullish gaps open. In other words, it refuses to let the bears fill the gaps. That is a bullish environment. When price moves up and holds the higher ground, that is also a bullish environment. Whenever price consolidates over prior consolidation, that is also a bullish environment. Whenever price is over the midpoint or over the all-time high anchored VWAP, that is a bullish environment. Price is up over the hooking 200 SMA. That is also a bullish environment. So a lot going on here for the 15-minute chart. Okay, looking good. All right, really looking good. I like it. We're filling bearish gaps. All right, it's working out nicely so far. Okay, now let's go to the same chart, but on a different time frame, and things change. All right, things change, okay? Okay, now this is not in an uptrend, whereas 15-minute chart is in an uptrend because it's making higher lows and higher highs. On the 3-bar chart, they have to take out this high here. This is the very first high that poked through the 17, way back there. Okay, so they still haven't even done that yet. So tall order here for T2123. All right, to get all the way back up there and take out that high. All right, on the 15-minute chart, yeah, we're looking good. But on the 3-bar, still got a lot of work to do. Like it when they fill these bearish gaps. All right, currently, all right, we are in a bear flag. All right, that's pulling back. So we're in a bear flag currently. So we'll see what happens here. Got to start making some higher highs on the 3-bar chart. It's not happening yet. The high to beat is way back here. And look, we're still under the 200 SMA. Okay? Got to get on top of that too. All right? So a lot of work still left to be done on T2123. These two green lines here, these are prior all-time highs. This big green line up here, that is the all-time high right there for T2123. Okay, so just remember, we went through a lot of inflation. All right, with that inflation, guess what happens? Well, all the goods and services sell for more money than what they used to sell for 4 or 5 years ago. All right, what does that mean to all of these companies in the S&P or in the New York Stock Exchange? Well, guess what? They got more revenue coming in. All right, that is, if they're selling the same amounts they used to sell. All right, say they sold 1 million units 5-6 years ago, and they're still selling 1 million units every year up until now, okay? But guess what? Now they're getting more money for those units, so now they're going to bring in more revenue to the top line. Now, if management's got its act together, a lot of those profits transcend down to the bottom line, okay? That would be net profit, okay? And whenever net profit increases, guess what? You get a higher multiple, bigger demand for your stock, okay? So all of these pullbacks, all right, down here represent value to a lot of investors because, number one, they're still selling 1 million units and they're getting more money for it, okay? So there's some value, all right? And hence, we're getting the hook. See the hook coming in, okay? Okay, because they're still generating profits. Now they're just generating more per share, all right? That's important to shareholders. We're generating more profits per share, okay? You can't just be generating more profits. It's when you generate more profits per share, okay? So if you generate more profits, but you go out and you print more shares, okay, or you release more shares into the public, all right, into the shares outstanding, okay, that just nullifies all the profits and all the hard work you just went through, okay? Nice thing is they're building now. When you get somebody selling product for a higher price than what it used to be, and then they go on a buyback campaign. Now they're going to remove shares from liquidity. Okay, now you're really talking about getting that price up there. Okay, that creates big demand when they start removing shares from liquidity in addition to the inflation that we've experienced. Okay, so those are the ones you want to watch for. All right, so there's T2123. I get a little lost on the fundamentals here. All right, I like to talk about them every once in a while. I know we're all technical analysis and we read charts and stuff, but there are some fundamentals that go hand in hand with the charts. Okay, something to look at and something to think about when you go shopping for what you want to invest in. Okay, growth is the number one. All right, always, growth always outwins price per share. I mean, if you got growth, you could have negative per share earnings, all right? But if you got growth, believe me, you can have a $80 stock, even though it's got negative. Don't ask me why, but that's just the way the market works. Growth is number one. Okay, FNGA, FNGB, FNGU, whichever one they want to call it. Okay, price action, look, from the bigger picture, okay? Low, higher low, right? High, higher high. Low, higher low. High, higher high. Okay, so uptrend. We like that. Up on top of the hooking 200 SMA. We like that too. Okay, that's FNGA on the 15-minute chart. Bullish gap hasn't been filled for days. All week this thing's held open. Okay, bears just can't get it done. They can't fill the gap. All right, that shows me bullish control. Okay, price action moves up. All right, and holds the higher ground. It's a bull flag. Okay, that's a bullish environment. Consolidation. Okay, up over prior consolidation. Okay, consolidation up over prior consolidation. That's a bullish environment. Okay, we've got the makings this week, today, for a really nice rally today, okay? Again, I like a 10-minute uptrend over VWAP inside a 2-hour uptrend, inside a daily uptrend, okay? And we've got all of these bullish environments. Those are the ones I want to trade. Those 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. This is the perfect day, all right? Yesterday was the perfect day, okay, to trade bullish 10-minute uptrends over VWAP, okay? Because everything's lined up. We've got all the wind in our sails, okay? Okay, all we got to do is pick up the anchor and let's go, all right? So there's FNGA, okay? Enough about that. Let's go back and take a look at some sectors. Trash that out. Start off with XLE. And here we go with XLE. All right, XLE, higher low, higher high, closing over the trap. All right, but guess what? Still not in an uptrend. All right, we haven't made a higher high. They're close. Okay, they could do it. It's right there. They may do it today. There's the high. It's just around the corner there. They could get it. Okay, currently still in a downtrend. Okay, price action still in the lower third. All right, so still in a downtrend, still in the bearish zone, the lower third. Okay, it is what it is, people. I can't help it. Energy's just not ready yet. Okay, underneath downtrend line 1, underneath downtrend line 2, underneath all-time high anchored VWAP. That's the pink line right there. Okay, so price action still in a downtrend. I think they probably break it sometime this week or next week. All right, so maybe today, maybe tomorrow. XLE. Let's take a look at USO. This is probably one of the core ingredients to the XLE is a little bit of energy here. Of course, nuclear also is part of it, but we'll see what happens. Here we go. Higher low, higher high, closing over. Bearish trap. See, the 3 is under the 8. That's a bearish trap. Under the falling 17. Way down here in quadrant 1. That's bearish. All right. Has not made a higher high. All right. So it's in a downtrend. All right. So USO, downtrend, and bearish. Underneath. Yeah. That 3-year high anchored VWAP. That's the post-COVID high. Okay. Notice they struggled to make higher highs all through here. They bumped their head. Okay. 4 times. And they still could not make any, they still couldn't hold the higher ground. Okay? That's why I say when you get up there and they're able to hold the higher ground finally, okay, we got something. Just can't get it done right now. Okay, UNG in a downtrend. There's a low, excuse me. There's a low, there's a low, there's a lower low. Okay, price action is in a downtrend. In order to negate the downtrend, they got to come all the way up here and take out this high. Okay, right there. Okay, not this high, just this one right here. Okay, that's the first one you come to over the 17. Okay, so they got to take out that high. All right, if they could take out that high, they'd have negate the downtrend status. Right now, price action, not in the lower third, not in the upper third, so just neutral through here. Still underneath downtrend line 1, but above 12-month high anchored VWAP right there. That's a 12-month high. It's not nowhere near the all-time high. You can see there's the all-time high. All right, that's a 12-month high. Okay, kind of setting the bar kind of low, aren't we? Yeah, well, we are. And price action, UNG. Okay, just neutral through here. All right, so just neutral and still in a downtrend. So nothing going on in the energy sector yet. All right. It is what it is. Okay. Let's take a look at gold. All right. Price action. Making higher lows, making higher highs. Uptrend. Closing. Up here in quadrant 4. That's bullish. All right. Uptrend line right there. You can see we're up above it. Trend line is an uptrend. Okay. See the uptrend right there. Uptrend line. That's diagonal gold line. Okay, we're in an uptrend. We're at top of quadrant 4. These are all-time high right there. See that all-time high anchored VWAP? We closed just under it yesterday. Okay, 2 days before we were up above it. All right, actually 3 days before we're up above it. Yesterday closed underneath it. Okay, it's still bullish. All right, even though we're underneath that. Okay, we're still up here in quadrant 4. Notice we're still holding the higher ground. So still looking good. Uptrend for gold. All right. And is bullish. Take a look at silver. All right, silver got a inside day. Okay, it's a lower high, higher low, closing under a bearish trap. Okay, over. This is a 12-year high, and it also doubles as a 6-month high, anchored VWAP. This pink line right here. Okay, so we're up here in the upper third. That's bullish. Okay, but get this, we still have not made a higher high, so we're still in a downtrend. Okay, it's just a label. All right, see there's the high. We made, see here's the low. See how we made a lower low. See the low, lower low. See the low. Oh, that's a lower low. See all these lows. We made lower lows. So now we got to go take out the high. And the first high you come to over the 17 is this one way up here. We still haven't taken it out yet. Okay, but the good news is in this downtrend, they're not moving down. They've moved up and they're holding higher ground up here. Okay, up here in the bullish territory. Okay, so that's why I say it's just a label. All right, price action, if they take out this high, we'll have an uptrend. All right, so they don't have to take out this one anymore. They got a lower high that they can take out. If they take that out, they'll have themselves an uptrend, and they'll negate the label of in a downtrend. So there's silver on the daily chart. Let's take a look at SMH. Got to wrap this up pretty soon here. SMH, okay, in an uptrend. All right, making higher highs and higher lows in the neutral zone. All right. See it? It's not in the lower third. It's not in the upper third. So it's in the neutral zone. Still underneath all-time high anchored VWAP. Okay, let's take a look at Big Brother to the SMH. All right, XLK, a little meaner, a little leaner, a little stronger. Notice SMH was down here in quadrant 2. XLK up here in quadrant 3, knocking on the door of the bullish territory. Okay, up there in the upper third. Price action, okay, you can see, making higher lows and higher highs, still in the neutral zone, but knocking on the door. Okay, almost climbing, almost ready to climb on top of that uptrend line, back up there. We'll see. So that's XLK on the daily chart, uptrend, neutral, knocking on the door to the bullish zone. Like that, see that hold over the higher ground? Like that, over the all-time high anchored VWAP. Okay, like that. XLK looking good. XLF. All right, XLF, higher low, higher high. All right, up here in quadrant 1, that's bullish. Up over the all-time high anchored VWAP, that's bullish. Making higher highs and higher lows, also bullish. Okay, XLF looking good. XLK looking good. Let's go take a look at IYT. All right, still dragging. All right, but moving up. Okay, we've got consolidation over prior consolidation as bullish. Still underneath this all-time high anchored VWAP. Price action still stuck in quadrant 2. Okay, they just broke out of the bearish zone this week. All right, or last week, at the end of last week, they just broke out. All right, so neutral, but in an uptrend because they made a higher low and a higher high. Okay, so there's IYT on the daily chart. Okay, let's take a look at our economic package. All right, for Max Payne for today. I'm just going to refresh it and make sure they got it right. Look, see, they changed it. They said 557 when I saw it earlier. Okay, so now they changed it. Nice guys. All right, SPY Max Payne is 560 now, not 557. Okay, but oh my gosh, look, the put to call ratio has changed from 1 2/3 puts to 2 1/3 puts. Okay, there is a put squeeze on the table for today if we get some bullish price action going. Okay, just saying. All right, on SPY, and that's for the puts and calls that expired today. On the dollar, still making lower highs. See the high up here? We made a lower high. And we're making lower lows. See the low here? We made a lower low. See the lower high? See these are prior highs, lower high, and lower low. See this brick of candles right here? Right, that was major support. This was minor support. We broke major support, and we're in a bear flag right now. Price action closed yesterday right here around this 100.59 area. Okay, we like that. Weak dollar. We just need some certainty out of, the administration. On the economic calendar, nothing but a bunch of Fed speakers today, okay, and a rig count at 1 o'clock. Yeah, that's really it. That's all that's going on, all right? On the earnings calendar, not much going on here, okay? Enbridge, 101 billion. They're going to report this morning. They probably already did. Everybody else, just familiar names, but nothing that's really going to move the markets. All right? You got Coca-Cola Euro Pacific. You got EchoStar Corporation, Starwood Properties. Okay, you've all heard of these before. Honda Motor Company. All right. Right now, just some familiar names, but nothing that's going to move the markets. All right, I'll take questions in the room, and if not, I'm going to render my video, get it out there for everybody in podcast land and digital land. I want to thank everybody for hanging out with me this morning. I know I take a long time. It's like 40 minutes, 45 minutes each time, sometimes 30 minutes. Thank you for sticking with me through it, but then again, some of you got no place to go. So thank you, all right, for letting me capture your attention. All right. So I'll see you guys in about, and gals, in about 30 minutes, okay? And we'll open up the market. Remember, we got everything's in the right place today, okay? Think about it.